Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my podcast, to my YouTube channel, wherever you're listening, watching, tuning in, all the things. Today, my loves, we are talking about the Sagittarius New Moon. Today, I want to break down the energy of this particular Sagittarius New Moon, and then I'm going to dive into each of the rising signs and what you can expect for this particular new moon. So, grab a snack, a bevy. I have my water sat right here on the floor because y'all, okay, I am getting so warm. I'm like sat in the sun and I'm very toasty. Okay, so grab yourself a snack, a beverage of choice, and let's go ahead and dive into today's video. Okay, so first things first is we need to talk about what a new moon is. If you have listened to any of my content before, I'm sure you're pretty familiar with this, but a new moon is essentially a time of new beginnings. It's a time of planting seeds. It's a time of setting new goals, perhaps kind of deciding what it is that we want to sort of cultivate and nurture and really plant over the next couple of months. This is a very introspective time as it is a time of planting seeds. So when you think about it, as you're setting new goals and as you're thinking about what you want to cultivate in your life moving forward, a lot of times that requires you to kind of go inward. You have to think about what goals you set in the past, how they worked, how they didn't. You have to think about what's transformed within yourself, what changes you want to make with yourself, with your routine, and how that's going to dictate the goals and the manifestations that you are planting the seeds for with this particular new moon. So this new moon is really fun because it's in the sign of Sagittarius. It's taking place on December 1st, by the way. So this is going to be early in the morning of December 1st, late in the evening, November 30th. So depending on where you are, it might be on the 30th, it might be on the 1st, but it's at 9 degrees Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is a very expansive, bold, fiery sign. My mom and my best friend are Sagittariuses, so I love the sign. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is all about expansion, growing things, making things bigger. So when we think about Sagittarius, we think about, traveling, like physically actually going places, new places, exploring the world. But we also think about traveling with our minds. We think about how we can expand our knowledge, how we can expand our understanding of the world. We think about beliefs and how we take on new beliefs in order to shift our perspective on the world and really understand things a little bit differently than we may have before. So with this particular moon, we have Mercury in the same sign. We have Mercury in Sagittarius on the day that we have this new moon. So because we have Mercury, the planet of communication, thoughts, and planning, conjunct this moon on the day of the new moon, it's really bringing in this energy of planning and thoughts and fast movement as it relates to our goals and what it is that we are setting our sights on and our sights for with this new moon. When this new moon occurs, Mercury will be stationed retrograde in this conjunction. And whenever Mercury is stationed retrograde, it is a time of kind of reviewing our details, kind of going over things and making sure they feel right, they make sense, they're aligned before we move forward. With Mercury in Sagittarius next to the new moon in Sagittarius, typically the energy would be that of like quick ideas coming in, okay? Think of Mercury as like, communication, thoughts, everything moving quickly, moving fast because it's in Sagittarius, which is so bold and fiery and hot and expansive and all about ideas and beliefs and big thinking. So if Mercury were not stationed retrograde, the ideas would be coming in quick and it would almost be like we are planting the seeds very quickly. We are moving very quickly on these new ideas that we have coming in. However, because Mercury is stationed retrograde with this new moon, the ideas might be coming in quick, but we need to make sure that we're taking time to sort of like go over them a little bit, to review them, to make sure that they fit, to make sure that we're kind of combing through some of the details that we may not want to comb through when we think of a new idea. Like, y'all know when you have a new idea and it's hot in your mind and you're so excited, and the last thing you want to do is like pause and take time to think about the practicality of it. With Mercury stationed retrograde at the time of this new moon, combing through those details and reviewing the nature of the practical logistics of your new moon plants, or your new moon seeds rather, is incredibly important for this time. And for some of us, what this means is that we might plant the seed for something new around this particular new moon, but in the coming months, once Mercury stations direct, we might actually be going back and reviewing the thing that we set our sights on and switching up our goals, changing them, altering them a little bit. So allow yourself to be flexible with this new moon, because even though it is a time of planting seeds, it's sort of like we're planting tentative seeds, like we're planting them, but there is a possibility that we might need to shift certain things or move things around or alter them as we learn more in the coming months. Okay, so now that we've set the stage for the new moon and we understand a bit about what this new moon has in store for us in terms of the energy when it comes to expansive Sagittarius that is ruled by Jupiter, I want to dive into the rising signs and talk about how this particular new moon is going to show up for you and what you might be thinking of planting the seeds for around this new moon. Aries Rising, this new moon is taking place in your 9th house, which is all about expansion. It's like double expansion for you essentially, but the 9th house is all about travel. It's about our beliefs. It's about sort of this higher learning thinking. So for some of y'all, you could be setting your sights on going back to school or doing something as it pertains to learning more. Maybe you're already ingrained in your career. You've kind of done all the schooling you want to do, but you might be thinking about taking on a new course or doing something to further your learning as it relates to your beliefs or even as it relates to something religious. So it could be something where you're starting a new learning path as it relates to your deeper beliefs and your spirituality, but it could also be just related to like schoolwork, coursework, your career, something like that. But this also might be like planning a new trip, like planning a really big overseas international trip. You are starting to plant the seeds for that, thinking about, I really want to go to Italy. I really want to go to France. I really want to go to Amsterdam, and starting to actually figure out what that could look like in the coming months for you and planting the seeds for that in some way. Taurus Rising, this is taking place in your 8th house, and this is all about shared finances and resources. It's also the house of transformation. So for some of y'all, it could look like taking on some new debt, and this could literally be something like you're purchasing a home. You could be going back to school and taking on school loans, school debt. For some of y'all, you're kind of like, you know what? We are coming upon a new year, babes, and I got to figure out how to get myself out of debt. I got to figure out how to change up my financial situation. So it's looking like you're doing something new. You're starting a new chapter as it relates to kind of figuring out your relation with money, shared finances, and resources. You also could be coming into money from a inheritance or a family member, something like that, where someone just kind of like leaves you some money, or you come into some money through like some sort of legal situation that is kind of wrapping up and now you're getting your payout finally. Gemini Rising, this is taking place in your 7th house, which is all about your relationships, your one-on-one relationships. I would not be surprised if Gemini Risings who are single, you are getting into a relationship around this time. Because it's a new moon and you're planting the seed, it could be that you might not be like starting the relationship now, but it could be something like you meet someone around this time with whom you are going to have a very significant one-on-one relationship with. You could also be starting a new business venture with a partner. So like literally signing a contract, deciding, okay, we're going into this business together. We're going to be like really deep diving together. Something new as it relates to relationship dynamics if you are partnered or already in a business relationship. So starting a new chapter, maybe deciding like you and your partner are going to couples therapy, or you and your partner are deciding to kind of do something new, start a new chapter in your relationship in some way, shape, or form. Cancer Rising, this is taking place in your 6th house. This is your health, your wellness, your fitness, your work. So a lot of y'all are going to be really deciding that it is time to switch up what you're doing in your health and wellness routine. You are in your winter arc era. You are coming into 2025 hot, okay? You're going to be starting a new workout routine, a new fitness routine. Some of y'all are getting a new trainer. You are downloading, MyFitnessPal, and you are diving into it. Like you are ready to really change something up. You could be starting a new wellness practice, maybe yoga, maybe meditation, maybe cold plunging, just introducing something new into your fitness routine that you haven't really tried before, or you've never really like given it enough juice before, and you're like, okay, I really got to like try something fresh here. I got to switch things up. Some of y'all are also adopting a new pet. So for anyone out there who is a Cancer Rising who's been wanting to get a pet, this would be a really good time to explore finally adopting that dog or that cat or that iguana. I don't know, but like getting the pet that you want. And for some of y'all also, this is going to be starting up a new dynamic as it relates to your coworkers. So maybe it's something like you're finally getting into a place where you're establishing really fun relationships with your coworkers. So having really solid conversations. Because Mercury is stationed retrograde though, for some of y'all, like whatever conversations you're having with coworkers, it could be something like in a few months or in a couple of weeks, you're going to have to review those conversations. So maybe it's like you're saying something, but they're not getting it the way that you're saying it. And so like you guys have to kind of go back and review to make sure that you're on the same page. Leo rising, this is in your 5th house of hobbies, creativity, joy, children. Anyone that's a Leo rising hoping to get pregnant around this time, beautiful time to get pregnant. The stars are aligned for you to conceive at this time. But for Leo risings who are not in that space of wanting to get pregnant, this is literally like pregnancy with new ideas, okay? This is you starting up a new hobby. You're really tapping into your inner child and sort of like building that strong relationship with your inner child. You are trying something new. You're tapping into really creative pursuits and endeavors that you've been thinking about or you've been wanting to do for a little bit, but you haven't actually done. So if you have been looking for a new hobby, if you have been really, really wanting to like try something creative, maybe you want to get into sewing or art or music or something where you're really allowing yourself to express your creativity. Cooking for some of y'all, this is the time, okay? So sign up for that class, sign up for that thing, purchase whatever you need to purchase to kind of get into it because this is your creative season. Virgo rising, this is in your 4th house of family and home. So similarly, there are changes in your home happening. So for some of y'all, it is giving pregnancy. I see that more for Leo risings, but Virgo, for you, this could be shift in your home, like a new home. You're purchasing a home, you're moving into a new home perhaps, but it's also giving changes with your family dynamic. So I see that for some of y'all, maybe there's a strained family relationship and you're working really hard to kind of like fix what that looks like or change how that looks like. We're coming into the holiday season. So I think for a lot of y'all, this is really giving like a fresh start to some family dynamics that have really been strained over the past couple of years, past couple of months. But it's also a time where something is shifting to be fresh and new in your home. If you're not changing homes, this could be that you're starting to feel really settled into your home. So you're really getting excited about decorating. You're getting excited about doing things that makes it feel like your home. You're also tapping into new family new traditions that you want to introduce in your home and keep going for a while. Libra rising, this is activating your 3rd house. So this is all about your opportunities and your newness as it relates to new communication-esque hobbies. Again, because we have Mercury station retrograde, for some of y'all, you will be reviewing this over the next couple weeks and kind of combing through the details with this, but you're writing a book, you're starting a podcast, you're starting a YouTube channel. And if you're not doing any of these things, it simply is kind of like almost a freshness and newness with your throat chakra, with how you are speaking up, how you are feeling called to speak more authentically. If you feel like over the past couple of months, like you've been talking, you've been saying things, but like you almost feel like you've been holding back with what you've been sharing because you can't share authentically, or you feel like, it's just not going to come out the way you want it to come out. Like you're nervous, you're scared, you're anxious, whatever. You are feeling really fresh and really like rejuvenated as it relates to your speaking and as it relates to how you're showing up verbally, how you're communicating with people, how you are advocating and speaking for yourself. Scorpio rising, this is in your 2nd house. This is your money house, babes. This is how you're making money, how income is coming in. So some of y'all are calling in a new income stream, okay? It could be something that is very new and fresh and exciting, a new job perhaps. But I do see that for some of y'all, whatever it is that you start here with the new income source, you're going to have to review it over the course of the next couple of months. So maybe it's something like you take on a new client and you're doing freelance, but over the next couple of months, you realize that, oops, wait a second, there was something in the contract that we weren't on the same page about. So we got to review it. We got to go over it because you're not finna have me looking crazy out here with this money. It's something where there's new money coming in, but again, making sure that you're combing a fine-tooth comb through the details of whatever it is that you're starting as it relates to money, because you just got to get the details right with this, okay? Sag rising, hello, hello. This is in your 1st house of self. This is all about birthing a new version of you, okay? This is a new version of self. This is exciting times. It feels like you have been incubating a version of your personality, a part of your transformation for the last couple of months, maybe even the entire year of 2024. And as we get ready to step into 2025, you are feeling excited to really unburden yourself and to really take off the coat, take off your jacket, take off whatever it is that you have been using to energetically shield people from this new version of you. You're ready to come out of the closet and let people see that this is the new hot, spicy version of yourself. And because we also have Mercury and Sagittarius, it's given your mouth is hot, babes. You are telling the truth. You're being blunt. You're saying what you have to say. And it's giving very much like some people are going to not like it. Some people are going to kind of be put off by this. But whatever version of you that's coming out, that's being birthed, is giving very spicy. It's giving very hot. It's giving very much like that fiery Sagittarius energy. And it feels like a more authentic version of yourself. You're still you, but it's like a more authentic, like 2.0 version of you. Capricorn Rising, this is taking place in your 12th house of the subconscious, of healing, of growth. I see a lot of y'all starting a new journey with trauma and therapy and healing. So going to therapy, starting a new therapy journey, you're purchasing a journal, you're doing something as it relates to your journey with healing. Maybe you're confronting certain behaviors and addictions and things that have been plaguing you for this year, but you've been afraid to confront them. Like you've been shying away from confronting this particular addiction and being self-aware about the nature of how deep it goes. Or trauma. It doesn't have to be the heaviest trauma, but it definitely feels like there's something that's coming up for you here that you're feeling called to start exploring. You're like, okay, I'm ready to stop shying away from this thing. I'm ready to stop kind of hiding this away in the shadows, and I'm ready to really confront it head on. So Aquarius Rising, this is taking place in your 11th house. This is about your community. This is also about your online presence, your network, but also about like your goals and kind of big picture thinking about what it is that you want for your life. So for Aquarius Rising, you're really starting to think about, okay, what is it that I want? Like, what is it that I really want to achieve in 2025 overall? Like, how am I changing the direction and course of my life? But then also, how does that relate to like who you have in your circle? Who are you keeping around you? Who are you spending the most time with? And how do you need to audit and shift that? Do you need to make sure that you are calling in certain resources and people and networks into your life? Do you need to cut certain people out of your life? Do you need to change the dynamics of certain networks and relationships and communities that you have? So this is about that. This is also about shifting your online presence. So for some of y'all, you're changing the way that you show up online. Maybe you're adopting a more professional presence online, or adopting a different like online personality that is going to be aligned with your long-term goals. Pisces Rising, this is in your 10th house. This is career. This is big shifts in your career. So for Pisces Rising, you are getting a new job, or if you're not getting a new job, you are really shifting your thoughts on what it is that you want for your career long term. Maybe you thought you were going down one particular path and you're like, okay, this is it for me. Like I'm doing this and like, okay, like I'm tapped in, but now things are shifting and changing and you've transformed and you're realizing, wait a second, I no longer want what I thought I wanted this whole time. And I want something different as it relates to my career. I want a different trajectory. And so you're changing your career trajectory. So you might not be changing the job right now, but you're changing what you want long-term for your career. This is also related to how you show up in life. So how people are perceiving you. So something about you changing your career trajectory or changing what you want is also affecting the way that you're showing up and how people are perceiving you. So my loves, that is it for our Sagittarius new moon. I hope you guys have an amazing new moon. I really hope that everything that you're planting the seeds for come to fruition in the most aligned way for you. Comment down below. Let me know if this aligns, if you are aligned with your rising sign, if you feel like this is on point, and then come back in a couple of months and let me know how this played out for you. I would love to know. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, for tapping into this episode, this podcast. If you're listening to this on Manifest Daily Podcast, for listening to this on the YouTube channel and watching me. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, of course. Send this to someone that you think would love it, that you think wants to hear more about how the Sagittarius new moon is going to affect them. And of course, subscribe if you feel so inclined. I will chat with you in my next video, my loves. Bye.